Good evening, everyone. Welcome to what is now episode 7 of the Recce Report. I'm your co-host Russ, former British Army Warrant Officer.
And I'm the co-host Cliff, former British Army Corporal. And welcome to this month's Recce Report.
November already, mate. Where does the time go?
Yes, yeah, it's and again, it's been another very boring, dull month with very little to report on.
Yeah, nothing. It's. I don't know how we managed to get 7 out of this, mate. We're literally there's. It's so calm and collected with nothing going on in the UK these days. What could we possibly find to talk about?
Yeah, nice stable political regime south of the Rio Tweed there. Um, I noticed something the other day. It's was it? I completely forgotten because we've had that many prime ministers this year. Was Johnson has had his resignation honours list, didn't he?
Yeah, the jobs for the boys and girls, obviously. Let's not be
Yeah,
sexist about it.
yeah. I mean, I had a quick look through it. The only one I can see that I think any of us would know is his number one supporter, his number one fan, Nadine.
Nadine Dorries, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a scary individual, isn't she?
If ever you want anybody not on your side in a debate, it's her.
Oh, it's unreal. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but I've been kind of looking at Nadine Dorries' career for a while now, but she's one of these people. She's quite a right wing sort of fundamentalist. She's very much against gay marriage, against reproductive rights, and all these kind of things. She was one that tried to reduce, I think, the abortion limit to like 2 weeks or something daft a few years back.
Right. So underneath this sort of surface thing of being a bit of an airhead,
Yeah,
lurks a very dark, menacing, as you quite rightly pointed out, fundamentalist there. And a
yeah,
fundamentalist is a dangerous character, regardless of if it's to do with religion or if it's to do with politics.
yeah. No, absolutely, mate. And Boris is about to hand her. I mean, about to hand her a place in the largest unelected China.
Yeah, it is really, really scary. Um, and that's it. It's a job for life. Yeah. Every single time
Yeah,
Labour get into power, they turn around and say, "Oh, we're going to reform it," and then they realise, "Hang on, I'm going to be in there. I don't want to reform it." I caught something about Ruth Davidson today. She's apparently claimed £15,000 in her first year in the House of Lords. I've
well,
yet to verify that one. But it doesn't seem a sum of money that would be totally unusual for that place.
I don't know, mate. What is
But
that? So what's £15,000 divided by 300? Then so that'd be it's only 50 days. It's only
yeah,
50 days in the house.
that's I think that's over and above for 350
All right.
for attending. Was it prayers? They don't even have to attend the full day for that. They
No,
only
you're
have
right. You
to
just need
tip.
to turn up and book in, mate.
Yeah, nice job if you can get. See, we definitely went the wrong career path, buddy.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, who would have guessed that doing a nice little politics and philosophy course at a substandard uni would have led you so far?
Yeah.
I know.
That's
It's-
anything is possible in the crazy Conservative Unionist Party, uh, including going into the jungle.
oh, mate, who was it? Ken Hancock. Um, I seen a thing yesterday, and I'm pretty sure it was either in the Telegraph or the Express, one of the right wing papers anyway. They're having a go at Chris Moyles for having a go at Hancock,
All right.
and they're like, "Oh, but he tried to apologise. You're being horrible to him." You're like, he's an arse. He presided over um, such a debacle,
Yeah.
and broke his own rules as well.
Yes, absolutely. He's only apologising, if at all, because he was caught.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like a wee child. That's the reactions of a wee child, and the fact he's still a sitting MP.
Yeah.
So what on earth do his constituents think when they're seeing him on the TV?
Well, they did the same. Who was the other MP that went into the jungle a while back?
Weren't the Hamiltons involved in that?
No, I don't know, but I'm sure there was another Tory MP in the jungle a while back. I forget the name. Maybe somebody will mention in the comments, but I'm pretty sure there's another Tory MP went in the jungle, and a female.
Right.
And I also
said.
I can't remember. I was saying I know that Penny Mordaunt went and did the old diving thing.
Yes. I mean, yes. Of course, she had her problems as well. That one with Williamson. The very brief tenure that she had as Defence Secretary, she had to clean up the mess that he made. But this thing about Hancock going into the jungle. What's his constituents think? Because remember, when MPs get voted in the UK, they might be members of parties, but they're voted in to represent the constituents, whether those constituents voted for them or not. So Hancock is sitting somewhere. Where is it filmed, in Australia or someplace like that? I take it. It's not a program I watch, by the way.
I've never watched it, mate. It's
no. So he's sitting in Australia, and he's getting quite a sum of money for doing it. But how can he be representing his constituents at this time of great peril? Yeah, people are in great peril. I had to correct myself the other week there on one of my posts, and it was quite rightly I was advised on the correction I should put out about this thing I've been writing about. People are choosing between heat and eat. Making and it was kind of making it sound as though one was acceptable. Two would be ideal, one would be acceptable, right? And I totally get where the person came from on that, and I did self-correct that one, because it is totally out of order that in the year 2022, right, we are still facing people in poverty. We are still facing people who have food poverty, and we have people with heating or energy poverty. All the more so with the energy. It seems we're sitting and have been sitting on so much energy. It's unbelievable.
And it is, and I know. I think I read somewhere. I'm not sure how true it is that where the nuclear subs are, that there's untapped oil reserves below there as well. Now I know that the plan is to leave the oil in the ground now. But the truth is, it's there's oil there. It's the wind up about how the oil's always running out in comparison to how likely Scottish independence is.
Scotland's Scotland's version of Schrodinger's cat.
Schrodinger's oil. It may or may not be running out. It just depends on what the constitutional question is that day.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's the Clyde Estuary area. That is, it's again. Oh, when was it? 2011. Myself and my good lady were over in New York, and we were doing a little tour of the UN building. And we got speaking to some people who were doing a tour, and one of them was a shipboard geologist who had just done work around the Clyde area, and he had a big cheesy grin on his face about the amount of reserves. He couldn't say anything other than a big smile, which we took as that's a positive thing. But yes, we all know we have to move away from fossil fuels.
There's a nice comment reminding us it was actually Nadine Dorries that was in the jungle before. We were just talking about it as well. How did I not get that? And failed to declare the 82 grand she got paid. That doesn't sound like Nadine Dorries at all now, does it?
No, or any Tory. I mean, says we were like, oops, I happened to find 82 grand stuffed down the back of this seat.
I just forgot it, just overlooked it. It was just resting in my account. Father Ted.
How much must be in their accounts to begin with? if they
I
don't
know.
notice 82 grand, you know.
I know.
I
Mate.
noticed the odd tenner extra.
Mate, I would spot 82 pence in my accounts, honestly. But like, where did that come from? Bloody real, innit? But
Yeah.
yeah, this whole jungle thing. I know. To be fair, I'm hoping. I mean, I don't watch it, but I'm hoping at least people post the clips up of Hancock having to eat kangaroo penis or something. That would be.
Yes.
I mean, it's less than he deserves, but
Yeah. I mean,
um,
what I've heard about the show is they try to humiliate any, you know, the pack instinct rises, and
yeah,
they will turn out and try and humiliate. But
mm.
yeah, I mean, I take it there's other Brits on the thing as well. Then is there
The what?
on
Sorry.
the other British people on the show as well? Is there? Because they will know what he's like and know
Oh yeah,
recent.
that's what I'm saying. Chris Miles, so the Chris Miles radio DJ. There was Radio One for many years, and then uh, he uh, he was one having a go at Hancock, and apparently they were some dizzy woman was defending him. No, he's apologised. No,
He's a
it's a
Tory. He doesn't
it,
apologise.
it is, and it's part of that. So somebody pointed out Kezia Dugdale was also in the jungle at one point as well
Right.
on one of the seasons. So it's all about rehabilitation for them, isn't it? It's
Yes.
about it's about looking for their life after Downing Street
Right.
and getting it in as a pundit or a celeb or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. I don't know with Hancock. He just comes across as being out a pack of very insincere people. He comes across as being one of the least sincere of people.
Yeah,
If at all that makes sense.
he is,
Uh,
mate. He's the sort of guy you look at him. He's like a lighthouse in the desert, isn't he? Or an officer with a map.
yeah. Oh, don't go there. Yeah. So Williamson had to resign from
Yeah,
cabinet.
for being nasty.
Yeah, but he was innocent according to his statement.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So why
yeah,
resign?
yeah. So why did he resign? Why did he apologise? It was
Uh,
it's one of these I'm sorry you were upset kind of apologies, wasn't it?
yeah.
Not
I
I'm
mean,
sorry for doing it. I'm
yeah,
sorry for getting caught.
absolutely. I don't think they've grasped the full effect that social media has these days.
Yeah.
You know, when they text something to somebody or email them, it's not like a letter they would have sent years
Mm,
ago. You know, it might have got lost or immediately ripped up
mm.
and thrown away. You know, an email stays there and will be used, especially by the civil service. You know, because the Conservative and Unionist Party have failed to show any kind of support to the civil service.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the civil service is sitting there going, "Well, if you're not loyal to us, we're not going to be loyal to you." And and you can't blame them. You really can't blame them because they're getting the blame for everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
and if
yeah.
they try and point out, what was it, Liz Truss Chancellor sacked
Mm.
his Treasury civil servants because they're saying, "No, what you're about to do is very, very bad."
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I think you mentioned before we came on air there's going to be a mini budget again this week, isn't there?
Oh yes, Thursday. Yes.
So 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 I wonder if I have a new prime minister by next Monday.
Oh, we can't go for four in 1 year, surely.
That
Mind you,
would
just
be,
keep us
oh
on
my
pay.
God.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's
How much does that cost the taxpayer in payoffs? By the way, when they get ousted, they're due money or they are entitled to money
yeah,
or
yeah,
can claim money. I mean, because I'm sure that also works with the ministers in each department.
I'm sure it does, and I think Liz Truss walked away. I think with about 150 grand
48 days.
for her short soiree into the prime minister's office. And the truth is, what's at fault? If that's the rules, um, then that's the rules, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yes, the particular rule with the prime minister was brought in when Thatcher got ousted because the Tories were worried that she wouldn't be able to keep herself in the style accustomed. So they introduced that one to basically pay for Thatcher. But yeah, as far as I know, every single prime minister since, including up to and including Thatcher, has claimed that money. I know there is pressure on Truss not to claim it, but then it went all very, very quiet. And usually that's an indicator that she did claim it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And to be honest, I mean, I'm not a Tory, but if you offered me 150 grand for 28 days work, mate, I'd snap your hand off.
Anybody would. Yeah, but we're not the ones supposedly with the moral compass guiding our nation.
Moral compass. Oh my God. As Hashby just pointed out, Rishi Sunak has still not appointed an ethics advisor.
He probably
That
still
does not
thinks
surprise me in the slightest.
yeah. He probably thinks
but
it's
it's that.
Essex advisor.
Oh, definitely. But it's that aspect, mate. The problem is, and a lot of people don't realise, is that bad people don't believe that they're bad. It's people that do bad things think they're doing them for right reasons. And
Yes.
the truth is, these people grew up so far removed from reality that people like us, the working class, the even the middle class, if you like, are not there in their own right. They're there just to support the elite, the upper class, the millionaires, the billionaires. That if they're not doing that, then what are they good for?
Yeah, they've there's never been this thing that they are there to represent the people. Yeah, that's never been a thing with them. And that is why the House of Lords is still there. The last thing I think the House of Lords had any input into is when they knocked back the defence budget in the late 1800s or something like that. And then they got scared that they might then get dissolved, so they then approved it. And I think that forced a change of government prior to the First World War kicking off.
Oh, absolutely.
So that I think was the last serious input the House of Lords ever had. Ever since then, it's just been a feeding ground for those that have been sold their soul, basically.
I mean, look at it. I mean, look at the House of Lords, mate. You've got, Nadine Dorris is going to be in there. You've got Ian Botham's in there now, isn't he?
I believe so. Yeah.
Michelle Brazier Head.
Yeah.
She's in there.
I got some money from the people that I haven't spent properly.
Yeah. I think the only maybe the only don't get me wrong. There's probably a few good people in there. Stephen Lawrence's mum is in there, isn't she? So
right.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I'm ashamed that I can't remember her name in her own right, but Stephen Lawrence's lovely mum's in there.
Yeah.
She campaigned for years. Although I could be cynical and say they only stuck her in there because that means she's got no power to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not going into Parliament to kick up a fuss. Yeah. No, it really is a torrid place. That. Talking of torrid places and not the power to do anything, we've also had the US midterms, didn't we?
Yeah, and actually, and I think, just going back to what you said about the House of Lords, I think we should scrap the House of Lords and have a similar setup to the US Senate. Now, hear me out here.
No.
So hear me out here. So in the US, you have the House of Congress, which is the popular representation. So it's based on how many people in the US and how many people vote. You've got, I think, not two, but you've got 435 congressmen. Right. First of all, think about that. 435 congressmen for a place the size of the US. Right. And in the UK, we've got 650 MPs.
Yep.
Right. Secondly, so that is the representation of the populace, but then you have the Senate, which represents the states.
Yes.
So you have two representatives from each state. So there's 100 senators, and they're the upper house. They act as the balance. So you have the popular vote balanced against the rights of the states, if you like. So there's no reason why, and hear me out again, why we can't have 650 MPs and 100 lords, if that's what you call them, 25 for each of the devolved nations, and then they act as the balance for that.
Yep. That's one way of doing it, and perfectly.
How hard would that?
But
How hard
yeah,
would that be?
it's not hard, and any country aspiring to democratic principles would snap them on up and go, you know what, Russ, we're going to do that. Trouble is, we live in a constitutional monarchy that practices some democratic
Yeah,
rights.
yeah.
And unfortunately, right from the top, KC3 downwards, they are not interested in democracy. It's just
No,
perseverance preserving, what they have.
yeah,
The last big shake-up they had, second to last big shake-up with the votes, was prior to 1914, all the way up to 1918. Anybody that hadn't had a fixed abode for a year was not allowed to vote.
yeah.
So that would have included every single serving personnel throughout the Great War.
Yeah, and no
Yeah.
women.
Come on, we're years away from that one yet.
I know, mate.
Yeah.
But you say about the U.S. elections. I think it's scary to think that even after 4 years of right wing Trump, that the Republican Party is still going to take control of the House of Congress, which is just it just blows my mind, mate. How there's so many proto-fascists can be openly proto-fascist these days,
Yeah,
and still get elected.
Yeah, it's what happens when something becomes polarized. Yeah. We knew the Democrats were going to get hit in midterms. Fortunately, it's not been as severe as what some were forecasting, and Trump is certainly not doing a big parade down Main Street, USA, is he?
No, he's I know, and the party's now, well, some of the party is now trying to dump him, and he's not a happy teddy about it at all. And it'll be interesting because Georgia's got a runoff because neither of the candidates got 50% because they had a third party candidate in there. So he is there. The Republican candidate, Herschel Walker, who's the former American football star, who's anti-abortion but is paid for 2 abortions.
Right.
You know the type. Has got doesn't remember the names of all his kids. That's how wonderfully pro family he is.
Oh.
So that's going to happen in December.
So
it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Right. And I think the more it lingers, the more that they'll swing towards the Democrats.
Well, I'm hoping so. And the fact is that the Democrats have held on to the Senate, which is a good thing. Because if the Republicans had taken both the House and the Senate, we would have had 2 years of, well, basically nothing happening in America.
Yeah.
They would have stymied it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they wrapped themselves up in the flag, didn't they? They're about patriot. I mean, not necessarily the American flag, sometimes the Confederate flag, but they pretend to be. There's that aspect of, we are the true patriots.
Yeah. Yes. And we've just come through the season for that across here.
Yeah.
With the poppy police.
Yeah. I was wondering if you were going to notice my subtle segue into that there, mate. But thank you.
Yeah. It's show number 7. I'm beginning to learn your ways. I've also got the script here.
But yeah, we're both former soldiers. We're here they are, stick squaddies. And it rattles my tits, mate, every year when you hear this. Or why is he not wearing a poppy? Well, because maybe he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, he's wearing the wrong poppy. mate, it's absolutely ludicrous.
No,
You know what I
no,
mean?
he's
It really,
wearing
really
the
is.
poppy he wants to wear. How can that be
Yeah,
wrong?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they were having a go. I think it was Michelle Thompson was wearing a white peace poppy, wasn't she?
yeah, yeah. Uh,
And the people, and with a little yes symbol in it, and
right.
the people that have been slapping poppies on tanks and aircraft carriers and missiles have accused her of politicizing the poppy.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
like,
you know
oh my god.
yeah. uh, it's ridiculous, but we get it year in year out, Russ, and
Mm,
yeah, we do what we want to do, and if
mm.
people don't like that, don't look at us.
Yeah,
It's as simple as that. And you come out every year. You come out with that wonderful statement on the veterans page, um, about if you buy the red poppy, your money goes towards help all the veterans that have been hurt in campaigns.
yeah,
If you buy the white one, your money goes towards exploding the myth that war is inevitable and the
yeah,
preparation for it is inevitable. And if you don't buy a poppy, your money stays in your own pocket and you do what you want.
yeah,
And I think that's a
yeah.
fairly decent summary of what you put
That,
up. You
and that's
you
it,
say
mate.
it
Yeah,
with more eloquence than I do.
and that's it, mate. And the truth is, we as soldiers, maybe not all soldiers, but I certainly believe we served to allow people the freedom to make that decision.
Yeah,
Right? And
absolutely.
if poppy wearing becomes compulsory, then it's no longer freedom. It's no
Yeah,
longer the freedom that we fought for, or sorry, that we were told we were fighting for. Maybe that's a better description.
that's a very good way of putting it, actually, Russ. Yeah, yeah. It's you're absolutely spot on. The moment they turn around and say you have to wear a poppy is the time where you realise just how right wing the UK has become, and I really don't think we're too far away from that stage. I think the Conservative and Unionist Party have morphed into the fascist party.
Oh, they have. I mean, if you look at the what were they called? The BFF, the British Fascist Party from the
Yeah,
1930s. Even look at BNP back in the 60s and 70s. Those policies would not look at a place today. In fact, they don't look at a place today in
yeah,
the Tory party because they've adopted them.
yeah,
They've adopted it, getting rid of the Human Rights Act, getting rid of the
yeah,
Working Time Directive, demonising the unions.
yeah,
Suddenly we've gone from clapping for the nurses to calling them, bottom feeders because they want more money for doing the crappy jobs they do.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And again, this is where Hunt excels in because he demonised the junior doctors.
well, he tried to, yeah.
Yeah,
He tried to, yeah, but
yeah,
that's it. But that's the thing about fascism, and some people say that's a strong term, but we're in the early days of it, and they will
yeah,
always wrap themselves up in the patriotism thing.
yeah,
Maybe we're a bit hypocrites. We wave the salt higher, but I don't think any of us, certainly you or I, would be a part of an organisation that was as blatantly xenophobic and racist and out and out bigoted as what the Unionist Party seemed to be.
yeah. No, that's not what I would want to be any part of at all. Uh, I mean, this country, the UK, has shifted far beyond anything I
Mm.
recognise as what I
Yeah,
spent 24 years serving.
yeah. And in Scotland, we have the SNP in power. They're not perfect.
Yep,
I don't think any political party is particularly perfect. Um, and that was too many P's, but too much
yeah,
alliteration there. But the truth is, they're the least worst we have at the moment. And we have to get behind them, and hopefully at some point, change will happen.
yeah,
Maybe not for us, but hopefully for our children, our grandchildren, and the ones that come to
yeah.
follow us.
Russ, I've been failing in my duties. Have you seen the time?
I have, mate. I have. We're rapidly running out of
Yeah. Well,
minutes of airtime.
Kevin will be sitting there pulling his hair out.
He will. He'll be doing his. So that's Cliff's clever way of telling us we have to wrap up for tonight. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for taking part. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for listening to me talk nonsense for half an hour and for Cliff talking complete sense. We'll try and switch up a little bit next time, but please join us again next time on the second Monday of the month at 8 o'clock. We'll see you next month for our Christmas special.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's always a huge pleasure. And remember, our future is bright. Independence is right.
Absolutely well said. Good night, folks.